Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome, everyone. Today on The Explainer, we're going way back to the absolute foundations of our digital lives. I'm talking about our most essential computer tools, the keyboard and the mouse. Whether you're just typing up a super quick email, building out some massive spreadsheet, or navigating a really complex application, these two devices are literally the bridge between your human intention and digital action. So, here's our roadmap for today. First, an intro to input devices. Second, we're decoding the keyboard. Third, mastering the mouse. And fourth, the fun part, we'll be solving some exercises to test what we learn. All right, section 1, intro to input devices, your computer's translators. Now, I want you to think of these devices as your computer's personal translators. See, your computer doesn't actually speak English or Spanish or any human language. It speaks code. So the keyboard translates your intent by letting you enter data through physical keys. And the mouse, well, that translates your spatial intent, allowing you to enter data by clicking buttons to control what's on the screen. It's basically two entirely different physical actions working together for one unified goal. It's a pretty brilliant illustration of how input methods actually work. Moving right along to section 2, decoding the keyboard, the keys to the castle. Let's start with the stuff you use the most. We've got the 26 alphabet keys, A through Z, forming all our words and sentences. And right above those are the 10 number keys, 0 to 9. But here's what's really interesting. Those number keys actually pull double duty. If you hold down the Shift key while hitting a number, boom, you unlock this hidden layer of special symbols. Things like the exclamation mark, the @ or the $sign. Now, let's talk about fixing mistakes because, well, we all make them. Here we have a classic showdown, backspace versus delete. It's a super common mix-up, but mastering this will save you so much time. Simply put, the backspace key deletes text to the left of your cursor. The delete key removes text to the right. So backspace pulls back and delete pushes forward. Easy, right? Next up, we have two absolute heavyweights of the keyboard layout. Right at the bottom, there's the spacebar. It's honestly impossible to miss since it's the longest key on the entire board, and we use it specifically to create those necessary gaps between our words. And then over on the left edge, we've got caps lock. You press it once to activate it, and suddenly every single letter you type is capitalized. Press it again, and you're right back to lowercase. It's a simple toggle, but incredibly effective. So an absolutely crucial point here is how we actually navigate through the text we're typing. Pressing Enter, that drops you down to a brand new line. And speaking of navigation, let's talk about the cursor for a second. That's the vertical blinking line on your screen where your text actually starts. You can move that cursor around without even touching your mouse just by using the arrow keys. Up, down, left, right. These are essentially your main cursor control keys. All right, on to section 3, mastering the mouse, pointing with precision. If the keyboard is your tool for typing, the mouse is definitely your tool for pointing. Physically, it typically has a left button, a right button, and this really handy scroll wheel nestled right in the middle. That scroll wheel is essential. It lets you glide smoothly up and down a web page or document without having to, manually click and drag the little scroll bar on the far edge of your screen. But hey, not all mice are created equal. It's wild to look at the evolution we've gone through here. Back in the day, we had the trackball mouse, this older mechanical version that literally had a heavy physical ball rolling around inside it. Eventually, we moved to the optical mouse, which ditched the ball entirely and started using infrared light to track movement. And today, well, we usually use a wireless optical mouse, which uses Bluetooth and completely eliminates the need for any annoying cables. Okay, so how do we actually use it? There are 4 specific actions you really need to know. Number 1, clicking. Just press the left button once to select an object. Number 2, double-clicking. You press that left button twice really quickly to actually open an application. Number 3, right-clicking. This one's like magic. It opens a secret menu, a list of context options related to whatever you just clicked on. And finally, number 4, drag and drop. You click, hold the button down, move your mouse to drag the object across the screen, and then just release to drop it into a new location.
And now for Section 4, solving the exercises. Let's test your knowledge.
All right, this is absolutely my favorite part of the explainer. We've covered the theory, and now we're shifting into full-on game show mode to solve the exercises from the back of the chapter. I want you to play along with me. First up, a multiple choice question. Which is the longest key on the keyboard? Is it the Enter key, Shift, Spacebar, or Caps Lock? Take a second and lock in your answer. If you guessed C, the spacebar, you are absolutely correct. As we saw in our visual breakdown a few minutes ago, it spans right across the bottom center of the keyboard. It's perfectly positioned for your thumbs to hit it, so you can effortlessly create those spaces between words. Moving right along, let's try a fill-in-the-blank challenge. Ready? Complete this sentence. The small blinking line on the screen is called the what? Think about where your text actually starts when you're typing. The answer is the cursor. Yep, that vertical blinking line is your constant companion on the screen. It basically lets you know exactly where your next keystroke is going to land. Okay, here's a tricky true or false statement. Really think about this one. True or false? A keyboard is an output device. Think back to the very first concept we established at the start of today's explainer. And the answer is false. Keyboards, along with mice, are strictly input devices. We use them to put data into the computer. Devices like your monitor or your speakers, those are output devices because they send information out to you. All right, let's dial up the difficulty just a little bit. It's mental matching time. Look at these 3 actions. Type in capitals, add a space, and move to the next line. I want you to mentally link up these specific actions with the correct keys before I reveal the master table. You got them? Let's see how you did. To type in capitals, you use the caps lock key. To add a space, well, that's the space bar. To move to the next line, you strike the Enter key. To erase to the left, you hit the backspace key. And finally, to move the cursor around without using your mouse, you use the arrow keys. Seeing it laid out like this brilliantly illustrates how all the individual pieces of the keyboard connect to their specific, unique jobs. Okay, we've got a riddle pulled directly from our source book. Listen closely to this. I remove the text on the left side of the cursor, and right below it is a jumbled anagram, CSBKAAPC. Can you unscramble that word before I reveal it? Let the imaginary timer tick down. And the unscrambled word is backspace. Fantastic job if you got that at home. You've officially conquered the chapter's core puzzles. We are going to wrap things up today with what our source calls a HOTS challenge, higher order thinking skills. Here is your final question. Find a key which is used to directly move to the beginning of a Word document. Now, we talked about arrows for small incremental movements, but what about jumping all the way to the start instantly? I'm actually going to let you ponder that one the next time you sit down at your desk. Thank you so much for joining me today to decode the tools right at our fingertips. Keep learning, keep exploring, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.